Here we go, BMW Compact Cup race number 1 at Super Lap Scotland and tricky track conditions, and we have already got a full complement of lights on the Beatsons Building Supply Bridge. In comes the Seagull and away it goes, lights out and down towards Duffy's Dip for the first time of asking, as everybody thankfully makes a decent start. And in towards Duffy's Dip is going to be David McNaughton, who leads the way from Cliff Harper. Tippy-toe stuff over the crest off the hill here for all these BMWs. And we've got to remember this is a brand new series that's been tagged onto a Super Lap Scotland Day, and great to see so many cars on track just now. Paul Daly, Gavin Butterworth, Richard Sutherland and Greg Graham. Rhys Claydon visiting this weekend, car number 666. As Greg Graham has all sorts of moments going through the chicane there, has a quick glance in the mirror and another one, because that moment has definitely cost him going up the back straight. But I say Rhys Claydon, car number 666, visiting this weekend from the National Championship. And also Brandon Walsh, Andrew Prince and Annie Butterworth out there as well. Cars are coming through the hairpin and accelerating away up the main straight we go. And thankfully a nice good clean lap for everybody, including Cameron Corad at the back there in his number 7 car. But once again, David McNaughton using all the track and a bit more. A few people being a little bit keen with their track limits going in towards Duffy's Dip there. You've got to watch not to use too much of that blue painted strip at the end of the pit lane. But in towards McIntyre's come the leading pack, and you can see the track conditions are starting to dry out. However, thankfully that car does stay on the track there. Starting to dry out, however, there's still more of a wet track than a dry track, and Cliff Harper used to always excel in these track conditions in previous championships, but this time he's not got much of an answer for the man at the front. And the man at the front is David McNaughton, as we see up the inside Gavin Butterworth slides alongside Paul Daly, but Paul Daly in his first race in the Compact Cup, father of Stephen Daly, says no, it's not going to make it easy for him at all. Side by side from the hairpin up the main straight they go, and everybody follows suit side by side still. I think Daly's just managed to edge ahead as they go over the crest of a hill, and he now comes back to try and squeeze Butterworth on the inside. But Butterworth has absolutely nothing off that and sticks the BMW back through and past as McNaughton comes through McIntyre's car number 23, followed by 72 Cliff Harper, and then it's car number 22 Gavin Butterworth with Paul Daly and everybody else in hot pursuit. Greg Graham involved in that as well. Greg Graham, one of the guys behind the championship, along with David McNaughton. So if you fancy getting involved in this, there is a Facebook page, and you can find their Facebook page and all the information as Greg Graham gets completely done there at Clark Corner. He had absolutely nothing back there. Wipers on, dirty windscreen, round towards the hairpin, defend, 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 defend. A face full of rubbish. Graham's got to try and slither up the inside in the brakes. It's a tiny little place. Can he do it? Yes, he can. And through he goes. He goes through on Butterworth at the hairpin, but look at this, they're 3 abreast from the hairpin as they make their way up the main straight now. Greg Graham loses another place. That's the car number 8, Richard Sutherland, and Richard Sutherland pretty forceful on Greg Graham there. The bottom lip will be hanging out on Greg just a little bit as they go underneath the Beatsons Building Supply Bridge. But as we come into Duffy's, oh, there's a big lock up further down, and you don't want to be locking up wheels going in there. That's just a no-no. Flat spot your tyres at that speed, that will have an effect on the car for the rest of the race, and that was Annie in car number 54, and let's hope that doesn't come back to haunt her. Right now though, it's not upsetting her in the slightest. All over the back of Greg Graham as they go up the back straight towards Clark's. Andrew Prince still sitting in a fine top 3 position just now ahead of Paul Daly as they all come in towards the hairpin, because here the leaders in the background going through. But look at this, Butterworth under pressure from Sutherland. Sutherland tries to go around the outside using the wide wet line to try and cut back on the inside. Does he do it? Yes, he does. Very close as they both leave the hairpin, but thankfully no contact as they make their way up the main straight again. However, we go back on board with Greg Graham here. Greg just trying to cling on to the back of Annie Butterworth. Annie using an awful lot of road there, race direction, and another lock-up. The race stewards will be watching how much Annie's using on the way in there, because she's using a bit of track that she possibly shouldn't be using that much off. That's car number 8, Richard Sutherland, goes down through Butchers, holding off Gavin Butterworth just now. Greg Graham dropping through the pack, so has Greg got a problem, or Well, has he maybe got the wrong setup on the car? Has he popped more for a dry setup, hoping that the track would dry, and it really hasn't dried as quick as he thought? As you all come into the hairpin, David McNaughton leads out the front, car number 23, and he's building up an advantage all the time. It's at 8.5 seconds at this point in the race as we go into lap 6. Just now sort of lap 5 in the race, and here comes McNaughton. There he goes through the top of Duffus. And David McNaughton making this look pretty sensational as he comes through McIntyre's and heads down towards Butcher's, chased by Cliff Harper. Another stalwart when it comes to the BMW Compact Cup Championship racing in Scotland. He's been in it from the word go. And Harper in a bit of a lonely second place right now, from Andrew Prince in third place going over the chicane. And then we've got, everybody else going through. Paul Daly, a sensational drive from Paul Daly just now, father of Stephen Daly. KC Motorsport concern just now into Clark's, here he comes. But here comes Richard Sutherland. So Paul Daly coming under an increased bit of pressure now towards the end of this race. We're almost at the halfway point, I should say. And look how wet the hairpin is compared to other parts of the track. The hairpin's still extremely damp. So you get to McIntyre's and the track's starting to dry through the Butcher chicane area. Then you get through Clark's, it's a bit wetter, and you get to the hairpin and it's even wetter again. So that does have a bit of an effect on how the drivers need to attack it. More and more track getting used on the pit exit. Is that a benefit? I don't really know, to tell you the truth. It's not the smoothest bit of track you're driving onto, and maybe that's why we've seen Annie locking up a few times when she's been out there. But here we see Richard Sutherland starting to increase the pressure onto Paul Daly in car number 46 as they go over the chicane, and just off the back is Gavin Butterworth in car 22, and that gap will be annoying him just a little bit. He really needs Sutherland to start attacking Daly so they kind of edge back towards him. And are they starting to catch Andrew Prince? That's a good point. Andrew Prince coming under maybe pressure now as Sutherland again tries to go around the outside, locks a little bit of a wheel up there. You can see it's dry in the braking zone on the way in, and then we need to actually lean on the car and turn through the corner. Damp, wet track. Sutherland switches back towards the inside as they come up the main straight past the circuit office and underneath that Beatson's Building Supply bridge. Side by side, I would say, now in towards Duffus Dip. Who's going to be bravest here? Daly or Sutherland? Sutherland goes over the wet part of the track and takes the position away. Fabulous bit of driving there. Very, very brave in these conditions and circumstances. So as McNaughton comes through the hairpin over the wet patch and gets a little bit excited on the throttle pedal there. Interesting stuff. We see a car retiring, and that's Annie Butterworth who retires into the pit lane there. And as we now look back round, that was Cliff Harper going through shot. We then pick up with Andrew Prince, who is under pressure from Richard Sutherland. Big time. Daly goes through, and still Daly has Gavin Butterworth behind him, but Andrew Prince is going to have to watch in this one, because all over the back of him now is Richard Sutherland as Cliff Harper goes through. Look at this. This is really closed up in the last couple of laps where we were following David McNaughton going through his precision piece of driving. But things starting to hot up towards the last podium slot, because that's what it's for. Prince third and Sutherland currently in fourth place as they go through the chicane. Sutherland closes massively going through the chicane. He could have a run up the back straight in towards Clark's here. And that's exactly what's happening. There's a defend from Prince. Prince will be lame on the exit off the corner. And if that's the case, Sutherland could have an opportunity to get through on the way in towards the hairpin. And here we come at the hairpin. Sitting in the middle of the road goes Prince. He moves left and has a little jink back to the right as well. Oh, round he goes. Both cars spin together at the hairpin and have a lovely little kiss at the apex of the corner. Well, that is just the way it goes. Paul Daly goes past, as does Gavin Butterworth. And beached on the curb is Andrew Prince. Both cars spinning. Gotta say, it looked a little bit like Richard Sutherland's spin in sympathy there. As round goes Prince, and I can't see him getting going from there. It looks like the car, has got itself beached on the curb. As on to the last lap of the race goes David McNaughton. McNaughton comes through McIntyre's. He'll be looking forward to spraying some champagne, one would imagine, after this race. We're getting the nice trophy as he comes up towards Clark Corner now. But as he leaves Clark Corner, he will see some yellow flags. And then he'll be aware that something has happened at the hairpin, and he'll see that car already beached on the apex. and that is Andrew Prince. So McNaughton will arrive with caution. He'll go past the stricken car number 29 of Andrew Prince and have a big slide on the exit of the corner, and he'll come up to a very well-deserved checker flag which awaits for David McNaughton, and he wins from 12 seconds is the gap over Cliff Harper, who comes home in second place. Paul Daly comes home for a fine third place. Gavin Butterworth will be fourth. Richard Sutherland recovers from that spin to come home in fifth place, with Greg Graham, Rhys Claydon and Brandon Walsh rounding out 6 and 7. So here we go, race number 2, and look at the difference in track conditions. We've got a nice dry track here at Knockhill, and we've got sunny blue skies with nice light fluffy clouds, and away we go down towards Duffus Dip for the first time of asking. And who will get the jump? Will it once again be David McNaughton who leads in towards Duffus Dip? Yes, it will. Harper goes second place, and everybody else tries to file for position going through. Another good start from Paul Daly, who has got the upper hand this weekend on Greg Graham, his teammate. Gavin Butterworth involved in that as well. Then Richard Sutherland all stream through, and the BMWs being very respectful of one another in these early laps. Thankfully, no wing mirrors or bits of plastic flying off any cars. Clark Corner, lap 1, McNaughton leads from Harper. Paul Daly in second place in the car which his son Stephen has piloted to so much success up and down the country. Butterworth having to defend from Greg Graham, and Greg Graham in turn having to defend from Richard Sutherland in grey number 8. The car who spun in sympathy with Andrew Prince at the end of race number 1, which saw Andrew Prince getting beached on the gravel trap, on the apex curb gravel trap, we should say, at the hairpin. Annie Butterworth also retired from race number 1, but has made it back out for race 2. As lap number 2, McNaughton and Harper starting to lead the way as they go over the crest of Duffus Dip. And Daly starting to pull away quite a bit from Gavin Butterworth, who has got a lot of attention from Greg Graham, Richard Sutherland and everybody else in that pack as they all come through. Rhys Claydon also showing well in this race. Started to learn the circuit more and more. Kind of more accustomed to Knockhill's tight and twisty turns. David McNaughton, though, in the dry, not streaking away as much as he did in race number 1. In towards the hairpin they come, and it is, oh, here's a move from Sutherland on Greg Graham. Sutherland goes up the inside, and he can do it. He takes a place. Greg Graham with no answer on that one, and a pretty good forceful manoeuvre, fair manoeuvre though, we'll say, from Richard Sutherland as they go on to lap 3 into Duffus Dip. McNaughton from Harper, and that's how it's been for every race we've seen today. Oh, we were only in the second part of it, but these two seem to be the class of the field. Streaking away at the front as a lock-up further down. Brandon Walsh locking up there in car number 98. The return of Brandon Walsh, great to see him back after a pretty sizable shunt at the first meeting of the year. And a huge sideways off the curb for Sutherland, and you can see that in the background. So Sutherland getting that thing all sideways and lit up there. As once again in towards the hairpin comes McNaughton. You can hear the car just chirping away on the downshifts here. Maybe the back wheel's locking up just that little bitty. As we come through the hairpin. Through the hairpin just now, and make their way up the main straight towards the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge. Over the crest we go on to lap 4 now. And there David McNaughton, the class of the field, but it can all go so horribly wrong, as David McNaughton knows, just in the blink of an eye. So David really focusing on what he's doing here as he goes past a green flag at McIntyre's. That must mean something has happened at Duffus Dip there. And there's a big slide from Rhys Claydon. Rhys manages to hold that, but that's lost him time, dropped him back into the jaws of Andrew Prince and Brandon Walsh. And once again, another huge moment coming through the chicane for Claydon. So has he got a tyre going down on him? Has he got a soft tyre? Because that really jumped sideways viciously from underneath him there, and he wouldn't have been expecting that. Meanwhile, his kind of teammate, Paul Daly, putting on a perfect example of how to race at Knockhill this weekend for his first meeting in the BMW Compact. And there's a bit of changing further down. Prince and Walsh both trying to sneak past Rhys Claydon as they come up the main straight. Claydon under attack as we go on to lap number 5. and on board with Greg Graham. Finally, some onboard shots. Debris flag at turn 1, so that means something's lying in the track as Greg takes a huge amount of curb and has to go down the escape route. Wow. Dearie me, Greg. Rush of blood to the head there. And he manages to just kind of gather it all together at the exit off Leslie's and McIntyre. So, some cracking onboard footage from Greg Graham, but what the debris flag at turn 1, the yellow and red striped flag showing that there was a floppy bollard lying in the middle of the track. And David McNaughton, well, he's not getting a massive gap as we saw in race number 1 from Cliff Harper. Very much with him all the way through this race is Cliff Harper. And look at that, there's a kind of a dive bomb manoeuvre from Butterworth there. Gavin slides past Paul Daly. Daly's sideways on the exit of the corner. That will hurt his drive up the main straight, but it looks like he's actually managing to fight back. And Richard Sutherland watches all this as we go on to lap 6 now, with the leaders separated by 0.8 of a second, but then 5 or 4 seconds back to Paul Daly, who fends off Gavin Butterworth and Richard Sutherland. That floppy bollard still lying in the middle of the track. A lock-up on the way in from Gavin. Again, that will hurt his tyres more than anything towards the end of this race. Over the crest of the chicane and up the back straight they go towards Clark Corner. The stream of Scottish BMW Compact Cup cars here at Knockhill, returning to the Superlap Scotland Championship and returning with some fabulous racing for us to see. Now, what's Butterworth going to do here on Daly at the hairpin? Nothing. He thought about it, but it wasn't on. These two getting very close now, and there's going to be an urgency from Butterworth because catching him is Sutherland, and he does not want to fall into the jaws of Richard Sutherland, so he needs to try and get past Paul Daly sooner rather than later, as Greg Graham gives us an onboard camera. Let's hope it's better than the last attempt. He's a bit wide. There's somebody going underneath him. Nope, something. Yes, it was Prince. Wow, what a manoeuvre from Andrew Prince. Sneaks his way past as they go through. Fabulous overtake from Andrew Prince, and you could tell there was something just not quite right because Greg Graham was staying a little bit wider than where he needed to be. Didn't head for his apex. And look at this. Clark's. Daly turns in. Oh, that was so close as they go through Clark Corner there. But Daly just holds off Butterworth once again, and that's allowed Sutherland well into contention. Now Sutherland dives up the inside, as does Butterworth. Daly tries to get back to the apex. He can't, because there's a blue number 22 in the middle of the way. And again, Paul Daly just hangs on by the skin of his teeth as we go on to lap number 8 in this encounter. McNaughton still only 7/10 of a second now. Harper's brought it back a 10th as we go over the top of Duffus for 3rd, 4th and 5th altogether. Oh, there's a bit of a wiggle from Butterworth. He's sideways. He's out of control. Daly's going to get tagged. Round he goes. Round goes Daly, tagged into the gravel trap from an unfortunate, out of control Gavin Butterworth there. Got to say, Gavin Butterworth didn't mean that. He was just still trying to gather up the moment. That happened as he went through Leslie's. As we come up towards Clark's now, has Paul Daly got out from the gravel trap as Brandon Walsh dives past Greg Graham now? And we haven't seen any movement from Paul Daly as we come in towards the hairpin. Still racing is a go-go as Sutherland now goes past Butterworth as they come through the hairpin and up the main street. And we've got red flags and red lights out now, so the race being brought to a halt. I would imagine that's to recover the stricken Paul Daly car, and the results go back a lap. So David McNaughton wins from Cliff Harper, Richard Sutherland, Andrew Prince, Greg Graham, Rhys Claydon, Annie Butterworth, Brandon Walsh and Cameron Corad, and the luckless Paul Daly. Oh, that's a slam at the door and a wave of the hands and a trip in the gravel as he heads towards the tyre wall. So unfortunately, Paul Daly not classified in the results, and a disqualification for car number 22 for causing a collision. That was Gavin Butterworth.
So we're done with race number 2 of the Scottish BMW Compact Cup Series, and it was a thrilling end to the race. Second place goes to Cliff Harper. Cliff, that was wild.
It was wild. I thought I was gaining on Dave a wee bit, but I think he was probably just backing off a wee bit to let me catch up. I don't know.
What can you do? Can you throw the kitchen sink at him to try and stop him winning these races?
Probably a bathtub as well, I would think.
It's been unassailable. 5 wins out of 5 this weekend. Are you going for that 6th?
Yeah, we'll go try for 6. We're here for the team as well as myself, so obviously working closely with Andrew Motorsport, Dave Heard at Trap Prep. I've got Waverley Cutting Tools as sponsors, so I've got to get these guys results as well. But we're also here to encourage the championship. And Cliff's a peddler; he keeps me honest. We've raced together for a number of years now, so you can't slack off when Cliff's behind you because he will catch you quickly. And he was catching me a couple of times there. I was managing tyres and stuff, and as soon as you start managing tyres, Cliff's back on your back bumper again. So, but yeah, we're here to promote a championship. We're trying to generate interest. So anybody wants to come, please message us on the Scottish BMW Compact Facebook page as well.
On the grid, we have got 5 lights, and away we go. Lights go out, head down towards Duffus Dip. And once again, David McNaughton on the front row of the grid charges down towards Duffus Dip. He's got a bit of heat from Richard Sutherland this time, who manages to sneak past ahead of Cliff Harper as they go into Leslie's and then pull the cars back up on the brakes into McIntyre's. A lot of lockups. Everybody arriving quite viciously, and that's Andrew Prince being shown the gravel trap there at the exit of McIntyre's turn 3. And also Gavin Butterworth starting right at the back of this one after disqualification in race number 2 for that avoidable contact, they would say it was, with Paul Daly. And towards the hairpin we go. And once again, everybody fanning out. Greg Graham having a look up the inside on the brakes. Greg Graham on the inside brakes. Bit of contact with Cliff Harper. Naughty, naughty Greg Graham. And that's left him susceptible on the main straight to Annie Butterworth, getting a bit of a slipstream up and past. As we go back to our Duffus Dip camera, just watch the turning speed of McNaughton here. Over he goes, each driver using the curb as much as they can, and McNaughton pulling away at the front, but Greg Graham, slips into that position, but up the inside, can you stop that? Oh, good grief, Andy Butterworth with everything locked up there. And an arm out trying to slow the car down. Greg Graham now tries to go back through Butchers, but that's not to be as we go through the chicane. So Annie with a pretty robust manoeuvre there, and she manages to get that one in place. And Greg Graham, well, if he saw that coming, he had absolutely no response for it, as McNaughton and Sutherland lead the way from Harper, from Butterworth, from Graham, and Annie moving about quite a lot in the brakes there on the way in. And is that Paul Daly or is that Rhys Claydon? It's Rhys Claydon. The car's very similar. Andrew Prince trying to go underneath Rhys on the exit the corner. Again, no contact with those guys. Very clean racing as they come through there. And up the main straight, that's Paul Daly at the back just now, behind the man who he had contact with in race number 1, Gavin Butterworth. As the leaders all head through, then 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th together. Over the Leslie's curb they go, onto the brakes. Nobody locking up this time. We've seen quite a few big lockups from cars going in there. And Paul Daly just not got the same pace that he had in race number 1 or 2 in this, the 3rd race of the day. Maybe tyres past their best, or maybe there's a little bit more, something under the bodywork wrong with that car that we don't know after the contact with Gavin in race number 2. As we come in towards the hairpin again, stalemate just now, nobody close enough to make a manoeuvre and nobody really needing to defend. Prince, if anything, is making manoeuvres up towards the back of Greg Graham, and he's dragging Rhys Claydon with him, and also Gavin Butterworth in that blue 22. But at the front, David McNaughton again looks like he's on for a hat-trick of wins here this weekend at Knockhill Racing Circuit. We've had a wet, damp first race, we've had a dry second race, and a lovely dry third race as we're seeing. And David McNaughton has been at the front in everything from qualifying, warm-up qualifying, and all 3 races. So there's 5 times you can get on circuit for these cars over the course of a day. Course of a weekend, that's 10 attempts at driving the circuit, which is great value for money, as McNaughton comes in towards the hairpin. We hear the car going down the gears, and back towards the apex we go. Sutherland, Harper, they come in together. Butterworth's managed to shake off, and look at that, there's been a change as well, because Greg Graham's gone down behind Andrew Prince, and now Rhys Claydon starts looking at the back of Greg Graham. So Greg Graham coming under a bit of pressure now towards the end of this race. We're halfway through the race, lap 5, as the guys all stream, guys and girls all stream over the crest of Duffus Dip. You can see just how much commitment's involved in driving one of these cars. bouncing through McIntyre's, trying not to clip the sausage curb, and obviously you can't run wide either. Track limits being enforced very strictly and strongly this weekend by race control. All the floppies still standing up at the chicane as the cars go through. And once again, McNaughton, Sutherland and Cliff Harper is starting to make a manoeuvre up towards the back of Richard Sutherland. And in doing that, Richard Sutherland's going to come under a bit of pressure. If he starts defending, that's going to bring Annie Butterworth into this as well. And then who knows, is Andrew Prince too far off the back of this to get on towards a podium battle? Well, we will soon find out. There's a little bit of smoke coming out the back of Cliff Harper's car there. Moving into lap 6 underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge for the BMW Compact Cup, the Scottish BMW Compact Cup. Through we go in towards McIntyre's, another lock-up for Cliff Harper. Cliff's trying very hard here, and he seems to have found the pace back as well. Fastest lap in this race so far for Cliff Harper, a 103.8. He did a 103.6 in race number 2. So there is a little bit of room for improvement for Harper there. We won't bother about race number 1 lap times because it was wet, as you can remember. But look at that, Sutherland just pulls himself away from the inside of the track to defend from Harper going in towards the apron. Or he was wanting to have a good long look in his mirrors and see exactly what's happening behind. And that was Butterworth locking up, feeling huge pressure. And Prince is involved in this now. And Sutherland was that sideways off the curb. Surely that's bound to kill his momentum as he comes up the main straight. Harper pulls out as they go on to lap 7. Has Harper got enough to get past going in towards Duffus Dip? No, he hasn't. But Andrew Prince has got Annie Butterworth. Oh, well held, Andrew Prince. That looked like it could have been a big moment going down Duffus Dip there. Has to take the escape road, but it was either that, spin, or skittle every single floppy that was there. So nothing gained that time from Andrew Prince going down the escape road. And thankfully Annie Butterworth will be pretty happy with that, because she might have got caught up in that accident as well. As 1, 2 and 3 head towards the hairpin, then 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 all in the one shot. As we come into the braking zone, you can see Harper's car dancing about, number 72, the pit stop Ellen car bouncing about on the brakes. And Greg Graham now putting Annie under a bit of pressure. A lot of these guys having quite a lot of oversteer on the exit off the corner, which makes you think that must hurt their drive on the main straight. You don't want to be going sideways out a corner, not that much anyway. Lap 8, McNaughton leads. He's led every single lap this weekend, and that was a bit of a look there. And off goes Greg Graham. Greg Graham tried to fight that as much as he could with Annie Butterworth going over Duffus Dip. He went over far too quickly and had the mother of all spins down the hill. Letting the window down, letting the smell out the car, and Greg Graham will rejoin Paul Daly also. Very slow and just not right in this race number 3, as Greg Graham gets away from that one and lives to fight another day. Thanks for that, Greg. We'll send you the bill for the turf replacement as we go back towards the hairpin at the end of lap 8. David McNaughton, nice sizable lead, turns into the hairpin over Richard Sutherland. And look at this, so Cliff Harper looks like he's got a big enough gap now over Andrew Prince as we go in towards lap 9. 2 laps to go. What has Prince got in the tank? Has he got enough left to try and squeeze past and get himself onto the podium? Or is 4th place all he has got for today? The debris flag shown at the turn 1 Marshall's hut there. That will be for the wreckage which Greg Graham... Yeah, oh, look at that. Very dirty apex there. Lots of dirt, lots of floppy bollards. Not good at all. As they come through Leslie's McIntyre's Butchers area and climb up to the chicane. Butchers, the lowest point on the circuit. And the climb from here, you don't really stop climbing until you get back to the start and finish. And it's a long way to get there. As we come round towards the hairpin, McNaughton, he has got one more lap to do after this, but the battle is very much on behind him for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. It's Sutherland just now, but another big sideways moment. He's spun in the last race because of that, and Harper sideways off the exit of the corner as well, and that brings Prince right in towards us. So this is going to be a fabulous last lap for these guys in the Compact Cup as they go over the crest of the hill onto our last lap. McNaughton leads the way. Through he goes, and look at that, Prince dives up the inside of Harper. He takes 3rd place away from Harper on this, the last lap. That's a big place to make an overtaking manoeuvre as well. Duffus Dip not really the easiest of places to overtake. You have to have such commitment and faith in your competitor that they're not going to turn across the nose of you. Otherwise, you'll have a massive accident at the bottom of the hill, as you saw Greg Graham doing earlier on. Greg tried to fight it out, maybe just that little bit too long. And with all that rambling, we're half a lap in towards the last lap now. McNaughton leads the way, Sutherland second, Harper third. Harper looks safe. Here comes, in fact, not Harper, Prince looks safe. Here comes Harper up the inside. We can hear it locking up, but we can't see it. But through the corner they go. David McNaughton will make it 3 out of 3. Richard Sutherland will take second place, and Andrew Prince comes through for a fabulous, fabulous third place. Fourth place for Cliff Harper. Visiting Rhys Claydon comes home in fifth, with Gavin and Annie Butterworth, Paul Daly and Greg Graham round out the rest of the runners.
So the third and final BMW race of the weekend is done here, and Andrew Prince, another third place. Yeah, it's been good, has it?
Yeah, it's been a good weekend. Making it hard for myself, but yeah, we're getting there. If we can just get off the line a bit quicker and keep it on the track, we'll be up there next time.
Looking forward to the rest of the season?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'll be good. Try and find the pace, stay up with David and so on. So yeah, it'll be good.
Excellent, well done, buddy. Richard Sutherland, second place, and it makes a change from us talking about you yesterday doing drifts and donuts down at the hairpin.
I had a wee technical issue yesterday where every time I touched the brake I basically spun the car round, so yeah, it was fun, but it was tiring. But I'm happy to be in second place, to be fair, so delighted.
What was it like trying to catch up with that man, Mr. McNaughton?
Aye, hopefully I'll get there, but yeah, getting used to the car, so hopefully I'll get the pace and give him a bit of a challenge.
Excellent, good stuff. Second place then, but the man on top, 6 in a row, David McNaughton. I'm making you sound so good, but that's incredible.
I can't help but smile. It's good. It's been a really good weekend for everyone. It's been some cracking close racing, especially in that last race. I was watching my mirrors. The guys are keeping me honest again, and the battle behind me looked immense. I was actually wanting to be a part of it, but no, the guys have kept it clean. It's been a great show for the BMWs this weekend. We're back in at double figures. We're forecasting 15, 16 cars at the next meeting. It's getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, let's just keep it going, keep momentum going.
Excellent, good stuff. So that is your final race of the weekend here from Scottish BMW Compact Cup Series here at Knockhill.